Hi, this is Dan.
And I'm Can.
This is a Pebble.
Apparently it did
Been
something
doing
wrong.
this for, let's see, 208 different episodes, and we're still fucking up the beginning.
Well, I didn't know what you meant when you're waving your arms around in the
Our
air.
communication skills are top-notch with each other. This week's Pebble is brought to you by...
Minin.
No. Start your morning the righteous way with Faith Flakes, the only cereal that promises salvation in every bite, but mysteriously refuses to answer basic questions about suffering. Now fortified with denial, guilt, and a tiny vinyl sticker that says, "Not of this world."
Not today, Satan.
Faith Flakes, the magically delicious. No, I'm sorry. The magically indoctrinating.
Not magically. You can't even, some Christians don't like that. Their blessings in flower form.
Marshmallows.
They're marshmallows. Yeah, I don't know.
Lucky Charms. You ever notice on that? I thought I brought this up to you. So all the marshmallows. So in Lucky Charms, what are the good things to eat?
The marshmallows.
So they're
That's the only thing that tastes good. Yeah.
They're
Just sugar.
clovers.
Yeah.
They're hearts. They're all these symbols.
Diamonds. Yeah.
Diamonds, symbolism of stuff. And all the grains are like Christian symbols.
For real? I never
like
paid attention.
Jesus fish.
There's a fish, yeah.
And all this stuff. I think there's like this weird
Like blend of the two, mixing them together.
Yeah. So all the shitty things in Lucky Charms are Christian. And the shit people want are the marshmallows. No one buys a bag of just grains.
No, now you can buy just the marshmallows, can't you?
I liked Lucky Charms. It was good.
I know, but those cereals are not good for you.
Here they are. They built this machine.
I remember when you were reading that thing, I was like, wonder if they taste like Wheaties, as though Faith Flakes or something. But Wheaties, I used to think I liked them. I pretended I liked them. I said I liked them. They taste terrible.
Well, the problem was you used powdered milk on them.
No, that was on cornflakes. We had to have that on cornflakes.
Yo po ass. Mixing your own milk.
Hey, you know what? Not all of us had
We were
cream to pour on our cereal.
We were drinking gallons of vitamin
and then
D.
just dumping it like on.
Letting it just drip down our bare chest.
Okay. All right.
Finish our cereal and dump it all out in the bowl.
Just be like, yeah, don't need this milk. Jumping it down the sink while we're like.
Oliver Candy Twist was over here going, "Can I have a drop of your milk, sir? To flavor up my powder."
That was when I was really young. As we got older, that passed eventually.
Yeah.
My teen years, maybe. Or maybe I bought my own milk. I don't know.
Anywho's.
Okay, my question today.
Would you guys have ever had Count Chocula in your house? Or was that too demonic?
I don't think we did. I'm trying to think what my mom would get us. I think she'd get us like Captain Crunch sometimes. But then my brother would have his friends over and they'd eat it all. And she'd let them. They'd eat it all and we'd be like, so we knew it was just going to have cornflakes for us.
Yeah, it was Captain Crunch, but according to the stripes on his uniform, I think he's not a captain. It's like a sergeant or something like that.
Okay, all right. Seriously, are we going to nitpick cereals? Is that what we're doing today?
You know what cereals were invented for originally?
What? Are we talking about this because we just had a Rice Krispie treat?
Well, that helps. Anti-masturbatory foods.
So ones you don't chew?
What was his? Was it Kellogg? I can't remember if it was Kellogg or one or the other. Was a Quaker, and he thought masturbation was ruining the country, and
so
that
you're thinking because it's masticating.
Graham crackers were supposed to prevent masturbation, and the grains in the cereals would be a healthy, balanced breakfast that would keep your mind pure throughout the day, so you wouldn't have the urge to.
But it just pumped people with sugar and made them tired.
Well, they
Maybe
didn't
that's
have
why.
marshmallows and shit in there back then. It was just
but still, it
Wheaties
was
and cornflakes.
Cream of wheat, that kind of shit.
Yeah, the marshmallows.
What were they eating before that? Eggs?
Probably bacon and eggs. The stuff that gets you all
that would be
riled up first thing in the morning.
That would be what actually sustains you for longer throughout the day.
Yeah, it sustains the sex drive. The devil is in the eggs.
And the carbs, if you just overdo the carbs, you're going to get tired.
Whenever I have a nice meaty breakfast in the morning, I'm always just bricked up for the day.
Okay, so you're just in your own little world over here talking about being bricked up and masturbatory or whatever.
I'm going to go upstairs after this and all the eggs will be gone. No more bacon in the house.
Throwing it all the trash.
Buddy.
Those eggs, they're like gold.
Eat your Wheaties.
Here's your cream of wheat. Here's your cornflakes with the dried powdered milk. We'll add some water so that it tastes somewhat like milk.
All right.
Okay, my question is, did you ever have an experience when you were a Christian where you thought God literally spoke to you?
I can't recall anything offhand. I mean, there was the unctions.
You mean where you'd get an idea?
Yeah, where it was the Spirit leading you as it to be interpreted. I had this idea. I was going to go apply for this job. Well, that was God guiding you through the Spirit. Oh, was it? Yes, it was. Isn't he wonderful? He is. Praise be. He's glorious.
Why I'm asking is just some people, I've had experiences that I really don't know how to explain any other way, but I don't think it was God. I don't think there's a being out there anymore. I really think I think there's a higher ourselves that are bigger than this body, right? I don't think my whole spirit is contained in this physical container. I think part of me is bigger and more knowing than what this finite little mind can pick up on. And so I think sometimes it might be showing me ideas or whatever. But I did have some things where I was like, did you have any experiences where you felt like they were very spiritual?
Sure, I did. Trying to think of any offhand.
Or where you felt really close to the divine in some way, but you would have associated it with the God of the Bible.
Can't think of anything offhand that's really stepping out.
Well, that's our podcast for today.
Why don't you give some examples? Maybe it'll trigger
for myself
this old feeble mind.
Like, I'm just thinking, I know I've had like times, like you said, like I've had ideas. I'm trying to think of exact ones because I just came up with this idea right before you came in here, to be honest. So, but I know I've heard other people say like, I know friends that have said they've seen like angels like help them in certain situations. And you can't say that that's not, you can't, it's not helpful to go, well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's an experience that meant something to them and it imprinted on their psyche. You know what I'm saying? Like to just explain it away isn't really being scientific either, because it could be something. But I'm just kind of wondering, like, are there some of those experiences that Christians, I had those experiences. Well, kind of like just deconstruction altogether when I said, I don't care. I just remember sitting at the table and saying, I don't care what the truth is. And I thought I was talking to God of the Bible, right? I thought, and I said, I don't care what the truth is. I just want to know what it is. Like, even if it takes me, I didn't expect it to take me on the turns it's taken me on. But I do think something shifted in that moment. Was it just me? Was it some sort of force or energy? Was it a being of some sort? I really don't lean that direction, but I did at one time.
I think a lot of it has to do with the state of life you're in and how you're going to interpret it. So the people that saw angels or whatever were probably steeped in Christianity. And that
Well,
was
yeah.
their explanation for it, was that's the only thing it could be. It could have been an angel. Where an atheist would have been like, well, it was this, or that. And this is what it was. And that be so where you are in your life is going to interpret how you perceive different things.
Yes.
So it's like, remember that old video of the kid who's sitting outside dressed up like Darth Vader? Kid's like 4 years old, and he puts his hand out in front of the car, and his dad's got the trunk button, and dad hits the trunk button, and the mom's sitting there going, raise the trunk, Timmy. He pushes his hand out, and then the dad hits the button, and the trunk raises up. He's like, it's like, can you close it? And then he does it, and then he closes it. He's like, oh, I did it. His perspective was, he has this power.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what he believed at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that influences a lot of what we see
for
and
sure
interpret.
It does. Yeah.
How everything was. A lot of things that you see now as oneness and connectivity to deeper spiritual sense, 20 years ago you would attribute it to God.
True. Well, one of the things I notice that a lot of atheists I've talked to or heard, they'll say things like, I prayed to God and God didn't answer me, and that's why I'm an atheist today. And in my head, I'm thinking maybe God, even though it's not that God, but maybe the divine, maybe source did answer you, and it was to pull you away from all that garbage. Like maybe you did get the answer you were looking for. It's just not what you thought. You thought it would lead you deeper into that world. And it didn't. And therefore you say it didn't help you, but it actually did help you.
It pulled you away from the...
Yeah. But they would say, no, it was their logic and reason, which could be too. But I'm just saying, I'm just curious. I was just curious, like, how people, what do they say?
Because I think if you talk to anyone, even atheists, they're going to have things where they have an intuition, a feeling, a gut instinct.
Because intuition is a real thing, yeah.
And they aren't going to be able to explain it other than the fact of, well, I just felt like going left today instead of right. And I found out later there was a huge, massive pileup on that intersection, and I would have been in the middle of it.
Well, and a lot of it, I think an atheist could understand that could be subconscious.
Yeah.
Just pattern recognition, kind of giving you this idea like, hey, this is something that you wouldn't consciously have at the forefront, So they might explain it that way, all these are possible explanations for these strange phenomena, things that kind of appear like miracles, or I'm not saying people are raising people from the dead. I'm saying there are times, like there is some people I know, like there's a guy that I went to school with and he had very thick glasses. And he claims it was like just like that. And he does not wear glasses anymore. He doesn't wear contacts. He doesn't need it. His eyes are completely healed. What happened? I don't know. And I'm sure there's other incidents where that happens. And I guess Christians just automatically, they don't think about it. And they're just like, that's God, right? And what's more, and an atheist might be like, that's absolutely not God or divine or supernatural in any way. It can be completely explained away, which a lot of times that is true, but there are some things that you just can't explain away. And I think the most scientific space to be in is, I don't know. And there's possibility for all of those things to be, they can't all be true, but except for the Christian God can't be true. Just kidding. He's just so, there's so much contradiction with him that it's just, there's so much evidence against it, and he seems very powerless too. So, but it was just a question to see like where, if you've had those experiences and how you would explain them today. And really I guess the other point is when we thought it was God, because sometimes there were times when I felt like it was God, maybe not a literal voice out of the sky, though there was times I felt like I heard something. But it was probably just a really strong thought.
And the mind can do that.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure all of us had that.
Especially
Is it God or is it
you're
me?
extremely steeped in it and extremely believe it. We know Christians that are very, very into it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have these grand experiences.
Mm-hmm. Visions, and
it's their mind working so hard. And it's that subconscious.
You're working yourself up into different altered states, you're on drugs.
And it's part of, I need proof. I need something tangible to hold on to. Here's this vision I had, or this dream I had, or whatever. And you put that you've programmed it into yourself.
Yeah.
So I think they create some of it on their own to create their own evidence.
Yeah, I think that is true. In your memories, I mean, as a hypnotherapist, like in school, they definitely pulls our memories is not reliable.
That's the old, when you're on, it's tough to convict someone of a crime if you have multiple witnesses of the crime.
Because they're all going to have a different...
Yeah, you're going to have 5 witnesses with 5 different memories of what went on.
Well, Christians use that to their advantage too, because they'll say, that's why there's different recollections in the Gospels, because it's all from different perspectives. And that's not the point that people are contesting. The things people are contesting are like outright contradictions. Like, it says this, but it also says the opposite of this.
Christians also say this is the divinely inspired word of God.
Yeah.
That was written by God through the hand of man.
Yeah.
So it's not witness revelation.
Yeah, so it should be, it should not have that.
It should be spot the fuck on.
Yeah, it should be exactly what happened and not different perspectives on what happened.
So, but to your thing about pattern recognition too, something that popped into me was when I was playing a lot of baseball and softball. And I think a lot of athletes have this too, where they see it. Even, I mean, the more you're in it, the more you get it. But I saw so many repetitions of a bat swinging and hitting a ball. By the time I was 30 playing, I could tell where the ball was going before it was hit.
Yeah.
So when
that's your subconscious. That's
So when I started seeing the pitch and where it was located on the plate and how the batter was swinging, and I was just computing real quick. Okay, his shoulders are this way, his hips are pulled this way, his feet are completely pulled out.
And this is all not conscious, really. It's all subconscious.
I'd be doing my step forward and I'd take a step to the right before any contact was made, and 90% of the time I was right. Or I could tell it was going to go flying, if I was playing in the infield. All right, it's going this way.
Yeah.
It's going to the outfield. So I'd take a step towards and out to the outfield. And I would know before the play even happened what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Football players have it all the time. They recognize different things, stuff like that, especially when you see it repetition. Yeah. You start seeing, okay, this is the tendency and this is what's going to happen.
Well, there's this book that I've read that's talking about the subconscious. That's subconscious programming. That's what that is, like it just knows. And they did where people have brought in things to the museum, to this museum where these people see these things all the time. They know the actual real thing. And some people fall for the fake, but not the people who are very trained, because they know exactly there's just like this feel, this vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? That they know this is, and it's because they
can recognize the brushstrokes.
Yes, just everything is like adds up. Or there's another test that they did where they took like red cards and blue cards. I can't remember how this one went exactly, but like each pile you could win different amounts, and sometimes you'd lose some amounts, right? And there was more good ones in the blue pile, and they didn't know that at first. So they'd start flipping, and after every person would get through a certain number of cards, they'd start going towards the blue automatically. And it was because the subconscious, they had to go really fast, so they didn't have time to consciously think, but the subconscious was picking it up very quickly, and it's just really interesting because it can pick up patterns. It's super powerful, and it's processing information way faster. So, I mean, a lot of these times, things where we think it's God or a being outside of ourselves, it's really just our subconscious, which I've even told people before, like, you could equate the Holy Spirit is your subconscious kind of nudging you and pushing you in different directions, and it will take over and control if you don't consciously interfere. You have to almost consciously interfere to change it, to shift the directory of your life, to change the script. Otherwise, it's just you're going to play out a script because it's memorizing and scanning. It's always recording everything. It's scanning and recording everything around you all the time and taking in that information. And then it puts it together, maybe not in ways that are helpful. In the moment, they might be, like that's why you might react a certain way to triggers as an adult that seems inappropriate, but you did them as a child and it was appropriate. It protected you, it kept you safe. But when you do it, you see adults acting you'll see 47 act in ways that are very childish. If he doesn't get his way or things don't go, as to his plan. And that's just, it's a program that's running and he hasn't consciously interfered to change it. So, I don't know, just, I guess that was kind of went on a little tangent that's kind of interesting. Subconscious stuff is just like the ball, knowing where the ball was going to go. You probably didn't even consciously, you just kind of felt it. You just knew. You couldn't pinpoint why you knew, but you just knew.
Yeah, it's just pattern recognition. Yeah. You see so many swings and so many things over time. We used to call it muscle memory, You just knew where it was going to go. You listen to some of these ex-players that are calling NFL games and they're lined up and the ball hasn't even snapped and, you got the guy announcing the game's like, all right, and they're going to go here and then he's going to throw it right over the top and then boom, right over the top. It's like, I just knew where the defense was sitting and how they were playing, how he was leaning this way and all that, and this was going to be open here. And these quarterbacks know it because they've watched enough film. They've watched enough repetition. So it's just instinctual.
And that's why, you can actually use your imagination to, let's say you're an athlete, you can replay something a move that you want to do, play it over and over in your mind, go through every motion, pull your senses in as much as you can into that imagination, like feel the grass underneath your feet or wherever you are, feel the, smell the smells that you would feel on the turf or you would smell, you know what I'm saying? Like pull it in as much as you can. And you are actually, they've done tests where people were exercising and some people just imagined it and some people actually did the exercise and they were pretty close. So it's pretty amazing how that subconscious can work.
Yeah. So fascinating right,
stuff. Ended on a very different tangent,
but hey, that's all good. So smash that like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Go to DannyCan.com, check out the website. All our stuff's on there, all our socials and everything. Candy Substack, subscribe to that also. Hypnotherapy, she's got that on there, blogs and all that good stuff. So check it all out, DannyCan.com. And go up and give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate it greatly. Give us a follow. We'd appreciate that greatly also. And thank you very much because we rely on you for support and help. So if you can help us, that would be great. We appreciate it. Right?
Right.
And remember, listen to us.
Or don't. I mean, really. Sometimes we know what we're saying and sometimes we don't at all.
Damn, you're really selling us good now.
Bye.
Bye. More.